Hi everyone, Krishna this side. So in this video, I'll be covering this Leetcode problem 3085, minimum deletions to make string case special. So it is basically easy problem compared with these coin piles. Both the problems are kind of similar, but here we have to apply more operations compared with this current one. Okay, so here we have to get prefix sum as well as binary search logic is something we have to apply, but in this one we can omit those both the conditions. Okay, but yes, once you able to solve this particular one, just give it a try and solve this coin piles as well from the geeks for geeks. It will basically help you to build an intuition, because similar kind of problems the moment you start solving, those will definitely help you going further. Okay, so yes, let's look into this problem first. I am only reading this problem statement. You can pause the screen, go through the problem statement if you are not aware of this particular problem. I'll show you the constraint as well. Let us just focus into the inputs as well. You can pause the screen and read them, and then these are the constraints. Okay, so yes, now you once you are done with this reading part, let us look into this what the problem is basically saying. Let me connect here. Let us run the script. The screen is popped up. Okay, so here the string is basically, this is the string that we have given, and the problem says that if we subtract any two characters frequency, okay, frequency of character is basically 4, correct? So we can count them 1 2 3 4, correct? Its frequency is 4, B's frequency is basically 2, and C's frequency is basically 1. So we have to make sure that any two characters if we pick, okay, their frequency if we subtract whatever the absolute value that we are getting, it should be less than or equals to k. So b minus a if we do, let me change the color, it is not printing. So if we do frequency of a minus frequency of b, we will check that 4 minus 2 is basically equals to 2, okay, which is actually greater than the case value. And if we are getting this value exceeding this value, we have to delete characters. We can delete the characters. Okay, so we have to delete characters in a such a way that the deletion should be minimum. Okay, and it should satisfy the condition as well. So any two characters we if we pick, its value should be equals to 1. Okay, that is the condition. Value should be equals to 1 or less than that also acceptable. This range, one's range can be starts from 1 till 10 to the power of 5. That is the constant that we have. So yes, the value can be big as well. But yes, the idea is we have to make sure we can delete the characters, minimum characters from this particular string, such that whenever we get any difference, it should be actually less than or equals to this case value. Okay, let us try with different possibilities. If we try deleting this one character from this one a, the value is basically 3. Now if we subtract this 3 minus 2, that is like a minus b, what is the answer that we are getting? It is basically equals to 1, and it is acceptable. It is actually less than or equals to this case value. Okay, but now if I subtract a minus c, that is like 3 minus 1, this basically gives us value as 2, which is basically actually greater than k. Okay, this is greater than k. So yes, we have to delete one character out of this. Okay, either we can delete this c and make it frequency to 0, or we can, what we can do, we can reduce this frequency of a further to make it to 2. Okay, and keep c's frequency as it is. So that what happens, if a's frequency is 2, now 2 minus 2, basically a minus b is basically acceptable, which is equals to 0, less than or equal to this case value. Then like 2 minus 1 c's frequency, if we are not reducing c's frequency, this is also 1, which is acceptable, correct? All these different values are getting accepted. Even if we do b minus c, 2 minus let us suppose 1, this is also 1, that value that we get. Okay, so yes, now how many characters did we delete? We only deleted 2 characters. Okay, 2 from a, that will be frequency, its frequency will be 2, or else what we can do, one character we can delete it from the a, another character we can delete it from the c, so that's frequency is 0. Okay, this way we tried different possibilities, and with that one, minimum characters that we can delete from this one is 2. Okay, I guess problem is now pretty much clear for us. So let us take another example. Let us take the same example, which is like a b c a a. Okay, let us directly take the frequency. Let us suppose a's frequency basically here is 5, b's frequency is basically 3, and c's frequency is basically, let us suppose, 1. We can have other characters as well. Okay, this is the values that we have, and the value of k is basically equals to 2. That is the difference acceptable between them. Okay, now let us say that we can delete any many characters, right? So we can even delete this age character to make the frequency possible, like we can reduce it to 0 as well. Okay, that way we actually delete the 5 characters, but we have to make sure that minimum characters are something what we are actually deleting. Okay, that is the pick that we have to do. So simple thing is there. See, now we have this particular example: a equals to 5, b equals to 3, c equals to 1. We can get their frequencies by counting how many times that particular character appeared with the help of frequency array. That should be clear for us. But yes, while writing the code, I'll explain you how we can get the frequencies. Now, the moment we got the frequencies, just think about it. Let us suppose we started with c, okay, and we are trying to make sure that this whatever the c value that is there, okay, we can sort the array as well, but here it is not really required to sort the data because the size is very less. It is like 26 characters only we are holding. So yes, we are not required to sort the data as well. But just to get a clarity, let's start from the minimum value that we have. Okay, from c if we started, okay, and we are actually considering that for c whatever the range maximum value that we can consider, that is something what we are trying to see from this array. So if I want the maximum value, see what is the formula: frequency of A plus frequency of B. Sorry, it is minus equals to K. This is the value. So if I want frequency of A should be matching with all of them. So K plus frequency of other characters should be in a range. Correct. That should be a possibility. Correct. We can directly shift, or else whatever the frequency next character's frequency that we are looking at. So C plus this 1 plus K. If we do 1 plus K, if we do, what is the value that we get? Here the frequency of C is 1 and the next value is basically K. K's value is basically 2. So 3 is the value that is acceptable. Beyond these 3, if any value that we are seeing, those many characters we will simply deleting it. Okay, if you get the idea, let me know. If not, again I'll explain you. Let us say that I actually want to make sure that this c value I am not going to delete at all. C's character value I don't want to delete at all, but any character which is not matching with this c plus whatever the frequency that we are getting, okay, if it is not equals to this k, of course we have to delete the characters from the other end. Correct, because the formula is frequency of a minus frequency of b equals to k. Correct. So if I consider c value as it is, I don't want to delete any character from the c, right? If we don't want to delete any characters from the c, of course this 1 plus whatever the value of k is there, 3 is the maximum range that we can consider for any character, because let us suppose 3 is the maximum range that we are getting. So if I consider 3 and we keep on checking in this array where this value 3 is we are getting, or less than 3 is what we are getting. Let us suppose b's frequency is 3. 3 minus c is actually 1. This is actually equals to 2, which is actually equals to k. Okay, so this is acceptable. We are not required to delete any characters from the b. But the moment we reach to a, correct, now a's frequency is 5. Okay, let me reduce this size. A's frequency is 5. C's frequency, what is the c's frequency? It is basically 1. So what is the value that we are getting? 4 is the value that we are getting, and this 4 value is actually greater than this k. K's value is basically 2. Correct. So yes, from this b we have to delete few of the characters. From this b we have to delete few characters, so that whenever we are subtracting a minus c, it should be equals to k. So how many characters we have to delete? 4. The value of this frequency, what is the value of the frequency of a? 5 minus the k's value. If we delete, 3 is the answer that we are getting. Correct. So 5 minus k's value, if we are doing, the value of 3 is what we are getting. So 3 characters are something what we have to delete, right? 3 characters are something what we have to delete, so that this whatever, sorry, it shouldn't be 3. 3 is the value that we are getting. Okay, the frequency of k is basically equals to 2. Okay, that is the value that we have, and acceptable frequency is basically 3. So 5 minus this acceptable frequency, if we do, we are getting answer as a 2. Correct. So 2 characters are something we have to delete. See, again, I am saying that this value shouldn't be equals to k. This value should be whatever the value of c plus this k value, so that we are actually in a range, whatever the range that we are defining. So the answer that we got was 3. Correct. 3 is the answer that we got. So 3 is the answer that we got, and we are actually looking for 3's answer at any point in time. If any character is actually greater than this 3, so a minus whatever this acceptable values that we have, if we do that, whatever the answer that we are getting, that many characters we have to delete from this a. Correct. So see, if we delete 2 characters, a's value is basically equals to 3. Now if I subtract this a value minus c's value, which is actually equals to 1, this is actually equals to 2, and that is actually in a range, because k's value is basically 2 and we are actually looking for 2's difference. Correct, for this particular c. So this is what we will do. So we will keep on checking for each characters. So what is the idea now? Here what we are doing, we are actually trying to save this particular current index, okay, wherever we are at. Okay, c's value is something what I actually want to save it, and I don't want to delete any character from the c. If I don't want to delete any characters from the c, any next characters that we are getting, so we have to make sure that few of the characters we are trying to delete from them and trying to get the answers. Okay, so we will do same operation for each and every index. For the C, we tried. From the B, we do not require to delete any characters. From the A, we have to delete two characters. Correct? For C, the answer is basically 2. Okay. So we will update this answer. Now we will try to see for B. Okay. Simple. We will keep on going, and each index we will check whether it is acceptable or not. For C, we tried. Now for B, we are trying. K value is basically equals to 2. So B's value is basically 3. 3 plus K's value is basically 5. 5 is basically the acceptable range. Okay. Now here the idea is, okay, another thing is, see, when we are reaching at 3, the range is basically 3 to 5. Okay, from B till 5. In between this, all values are acceptable. If we go beyond this, whatever the value that we got, minus this acceptable value, okay, minus 5 is something what we have to do. Okay, that is the idea that we have to. Let us suppose any character frequency is actually lying in this range. C's frequency is basically 1. Okay, C's frequency is basically equals to 1. And what is the acceptable? 5 is the acceptable maximum, and minimum should be 3. If less than 3, if any character's frequency is something what we are getting, we have to delete all the characters of that. Correct? See, because uh, okay, again here also there is a catch. Okay, let me pause because it is getting heat, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, guys. So where were we? Okay, so for 3 we were trying to see now. Okay, for C we did check. Okay, let me make it again back. For C we already checked. Okay, so answer that we got was 2. So 2 characters, if we delete from the string, we are getting the answer. Okay, the answer got updated. Now for B we are trying to see. Okay, for B here it's a twist. Again, that is something what we will see. So the range is basically 3 plus 2 is basically 5. At most 5 is the range that is acceptable. Okay, but there should be a minimum range as well. Okay, what is the minimum range? It should be start from 3 and we can go till 5. Why this minimum range is basically starting from 3? We can also do that 3 minus this k's value. What is the k value? 2. That could be our minimum range, right? Like from 1 till 5, that is the range that we can consider. But remember guys, we are actually trying to see for 3. Okay, so at any point in time, if 1 is the range also, if we consider, let us suppose c's value is basically 1, correct, and here a's value is basically 5. So here for this 3 to 5, answer is actually acceptable. But the moment if we consider a equals to 5, c equals to 1 as well, if we subtract a minus c, this answer is going to be definitely not acceptable. So yes, we are actually going forward direction. In the forward direction, whatever the range that we are considering, it should be acceptable. So any character's frequency less than these 3, those all characters are required to delete. Okay, so that is the catch right over here. So at any point in time, at any particular index, if we are at there, so from that particular index till the value that k plus that particular value, that is the range we are accepting. So forward direction and forward direction for each of the characters we are going. For C also we went forward direction. So for C we already checked. Now for B we already checked. So the range is basically minimum range is 3. The maximum where we can go is 3 plus this case value is basically 2. In between this, any characters frequency is basically appearing, all those characters are basically acceptable. So we do not require to delete any characters. But any character frequency less than this 3 or greater than this 5, we have to delete their characters to match this frequency. So how we can delete it? The acceptable value is basically 5. So any character goes beyond this 5, so we will simply delete them. So let us suppose 6, any character's frequency is 6 is what we got. 6 minus 5 is basically what is the answer. So one character we are required to delete from this one. If there are, let us suppose 10, 11, these are the frequencies also available. So 10 minus 5 is something what we have to do. 11 minus 5 is something what we have to do. And we, whatever the frequencies character we are deleting, those needs to be get collected. Keep on collecting them. Okay, and any characters frequency less than this, so we have to delete entire characters. Okay, so that let us suppose if A's characters frequency is 5, and here if let us suppose C's character which is having frequency 1, so I cannot get this range, like 5 minus 1 is basically 4 and my acceptable value is basically 2. So yes, any characters frequency that is less than this three, we have to delete them, so that we have to make sure that whatever the characters we consider in this particular range, those are only acceptable, and beyond them, if less than this, entire characters have to be deleted, and if it goes beyond this, we have to make sure its frequency is basically equals to 5, because that is the acceptable range that we have. Okay, simple, straightforward, we got this idea. Let us now write down the code, and again I'll explain you guys if still did not get it, because this is basically easy problem compared with this coin piles. Okay, we have to perform lot many operations into this particular coin piles, and this is pretty much easy. Just do let me know if you want the solution for this particular coin piles as well. If you struggle and started solving this particular one, I'll explain you guys for that one as well. Okay, it is actually a good problem, and yes, let's try to get the frequency of this one. Okay, first what we will do, let us get the length of this word dot length. We got the range, we have to just check that any characters frequency going beyond that or not. Okay, let us define n. Basically n size is basically 26, because in the constraint it is said that all the characters in this word are basically lowercase characters. So this way, like, we are actually saved from getting the prefix sum and then doing the binary search and all to reduce the complexity. But here we are not required to do all those operations. Okay, we simply got n value, so let us collect the frequency of each array, each character. Okay, this is basically n. N is basically 26. Okay, just remember that, and the length of the word is basically this one. So let me get the char ch word dot to char array. Okay, we got this. Now get their frequency. So how we get it? Frequency of whatever the current char minus a. If we do that, if the character is actually a minus a is basically 0. Okay, so that way at 0th index a's values we are keep on popping up. If b minus a is what we do, then it is going to be 1. So z minus a is something what if we do, that is going to be 25. So we got from 0 to 25 this range or the characters frequency, and we are keep on, if any characters appears, that value is getting incremented. That way we collect the frequency of these characters. Okay, now we got the frequencies. Let us define the answer. The answer basically should be whatever the length of the string. So length is something what I'll make sure to add it here, because that is the maximum character relation that we can get, and we are supposed to get minimum. So at any point in time, if we are required to get a minimum, we have to put their value as a maximum value. Okay, so now the answer is also defined. That is something what at the end I'll return. Now in between this we have to perform the operations. So yes, the first thing is like we will start from the each character. Int I equals to 0, I less than this 26. Basically n is the value that we are looking for, so n is basically 26. Till 26 we are going. Okay, now in this one let us get the first character's frequency, which is like if we will check that if any character that might not have appeared and the frequency is equals to 0, so we will skip for them. Okay, so what we'll do is, if frequency of I is basically equals to 0, we will simply continue from there. Okay, that is the basic idea. Now let us get the current frequency. Okay, which is actually a minimum range as well. Okay, frequency of I, and again we will run a for loop. Int j equals to 0. So it is like again for each index we are checking whether the whatever the range that we are defining. So max range is basically, it is going to be frequency of I plus k. Okay, beyond that if we are getting, we will simply collect, and then let us define current answer as well, where we will keep on collecting the answers. Okay, current answer is basically equals to 0. We defined few of the characters, so now the we have to go till n. Here also if we can check, we can do this one. If frequency of this particular j is basically, if it equals to 0, we can simply continue from there. Now the next thing is like we check frequency of this j, if it is actually less than this frequency of I already explained that. If that is the case, we have to delete entire character. So in the current answer we will add that one. Okay, frequency of this I. Else if this frequency of j is actually greater than this max range that we have defined. Okay, if it is the case, in the current answer we will simply add this frequency of j minus max range. So whatever the extra characters that we got, those characters needs to be deleted. Okay, that way we keep on defining this and we are keep on collecting them. Okay, so yes, that's all, and we will simply update the answer. Answer equals to mat.min. Whenever we got the minimum answer, that is the answer that it will hold. The answer equals to answer comma current answer, whatever we got. Okay, at the end we are returning the answer. I think I am not required to put this one as well. So yes, max range is something that we have, minimum range is the correct current character that we are at. So yes, if it is going beyond that, we will collect all the characters frequency. If it is actually greater than the max range that we have defined, those extra characters needs to be deleted. So we will add it into the answers, and at the end we'll check. Okay, that way we will do it. And if you look here, it is like n is basically 26, so complexity is going to be word dot length. It is should be okay. We are not even using this length, right? So let us remove this one. Okay, and it should be like in a brackets, but that is the thing I missed right over there. Okay, length is actually okay. I couldn't have been related. Okay, that is fine. The answer is like I am currently pointing it to minimum maximum characters that we can have. Okay, we are actually getting wrong answers. So time to debug. Okay, we are uh, keep on having these issues whenever I try to solve the question. So answer is 4. In this particular, it is acceptable. Here it is like 3. The expected is 1. So let us debug the code. Okay, it doesn't matter. See, I am not reshooting any videos. At any point in time, if I face any issues, I'll debug it in front of you guys only. So range is 26, frequency is basically 26, the array that we are creating. We are collecting their each character's frequency. We got the frequencies. Now answer is basically pointing toward dot length, whatever the length that we have. So starting from the 0th index, we are going frequency of I equals to 0. We are continuing. Max range is basically frequency of this I plus k value. Okay, that is the max range. Current answer is basically pointing to 0. We will keep on updating them. 0 till n, we are going again. Frequency of j is equals to 0. We will simply continue from there. If frequency of j, if less than this frequency of I, current answer basically get updated with frequency of j. See, this is how we will debug the code. Okay, we actually got wrong here because if at any point in time, whatever the range that we have, if it is less than that one, entire character's frequency should be getting deleted. So that is something what we are adding into the answers. Okay, frequency of j is something what we have to delete. Then frequency of j is basically greater than this maximum. Then in that case, we will be subtracting this frequency of j minus max range that we have. Okay, that way we will delete extra characters that we are getting, so that extra characters, the moment we delete, it will be in a range. Okay, so yes, that's how we solve this one. Let me now submit it, and hopefully it should run now. It is getting accepted. Let us submit this code. And talking about the complexity here, to create this frequency array. Okay, here the moment we are trying to create this frequency array, right, it will be like big O of n. If the n value is pretty much like big, right, so it is going to be big O of n. Okay, and this frequency array is basically 26, so it is constant time. Even here, like we are running this loop, it is like 26 time we are running into 26 time we are running. So yes, time complexity is here for this one, it is going to be constant. The only thing is like when we are traversing, it is going to be big O of n. So that's how we are solving this particular problem. So yes, just try to solve this coin piles as well the moment you realize the answer, this particular answer. And do let me know if you want the solution for this particular one, because it requires a lot many things to solve this particular one. We are applying binary search, getting prefix sum and all. Here we are not required to do all those operations, but problem is kind of similar. There is no change in both the problems. Okay, yes, that's all from this particular video. Thank you for watching this one. Bye bye.